foster parents for 37 years. We fell into it by accident, totally by accident. But everything for those 37 years, I cannot imagine not having followed what God had laid out for us, because it was not in our plan at all to do what we have done in life together.
We've had dozens, over 100 of
Yeah.
foster kids in the last 37 years. We don't even know how many.
We didn't ever suspect that we would do this for so long. We had 2 birth sons, and we could not have any more children, and we were really in search of a little girl when we started fostering. But in the interim, we ended up adopting 5 children over the 37 years, and we have a total of 7 now.
We've not had any kids, foster children, that came to our home and then aged out after they turned 18. We have adopted 5 of our foster children that came to us as babies, and then they obviously stayed on, and they're part of our family. We've got one in their 30s and kids in their 20s, and they're all part of our family, just like our natural kids are. But we've never had any foster kids that have aged out of the system. Most of the foster kids that we've had came to us at a young age and got adopted by another family, or went back home to their natural family, or another kinship type relationship.
Most of the time we take children with medical problems, so it's usually 2 to 3 years by the time they become medically stable and can actually go back home, or an adoption takes place. A number of them have stayed for 3 years, and that's too long to stay in foster care. But the cases are difficult. But when you're a medical home, as we've been for the last 20 years, that's just part of the territory.
Yeah, you have to get as much information as you can of the medical needs and the background of the child, family, genetics and things like that, so you've got at least somewhere to start from. And then you hook them up with the doctors that would apply to those needs, and go for, and it's going to be an ongoing process, because the needs are going to change as time goes on.
And we were basic care foster parents well before we were primary medical needs. The children that we took, in fact, we've got the first little boy we took after we moved to Houston 25 years ago. And he's still in our home, and he's a functioning adult. But those boys came to us as tiny, premature babies with a lot of medical needs, drug and alcohol, fetal alcohol, a lot of undiagnosed things that we learned about and educated ourselves on as they were growing up. And I think that's where the windows were open for us to just go ahead and step into the next part of primary medical needs kids. When you take a medically needy foster child, there's a lot of training that needs to come with that, because every child is just as different as a basic care child. They may have a G-tube, they may have a trach, they may be on a vent for breathing. A lot of the training, all of the training is available through the hospital. Of course, in the Houston area, we have Texas Children plus other hospitals that are excellent. You cannot take a primary medical needs child and expect your agency or CPS to guide you, because they don't have the resources to do it. One of the things as a medical needy foster parent is you've got to be able to dig out your own resources.
But they're available.
They are absolutely.
Dig for them, but they're available through the hospital systems and the medical systems.
And the Medicare system has helped me a lot with my medically needy children. I just call and talk to the nurses there about the signs and symptoms and things like that I see.
Well, there are different levels of foster care. There's basic, there's therapeutic, there's medically fragile children, which is the ones that we take. Your reimbursement rate is based upon the difficulty of the case, and in some cases you need to, you're never reimbursed enough. I mean, whatever the needs are of the child, you get a little bit of that money back. But you do need to do a lot of digging. The resources are available, but you do need to do a lot of asking questions, working with other foster parents that have got this kind of a child or a similar type situation, and that you've talked to them, find out who their psychologist is, who their pediatrician is, who their pulmonary doctor is, those kind of things like that. And you can work your way with, especially with the help of other foster parents, finding the needs and meeting those needs of the children.
When we got Michael because we had his brother who was born a year earlier. They were both born in October. Michael was born October 5th, and we were actually celebrating his brother's birthday when we got the call that there was another baby. No, when we took them into our home, whites were not even allowed to adopt blacks in the state of Texas. So never did we think it was anything permanent. In addition, we had been to see Michael after we got that phone call. We went to see Michael. And I came out of that ICU. Michael was born weighing 1 pound 24 years ago. So I came out of there and I said to my husband, I can't love that baby. I mean, it was like a little rat lying in an incubator. And I just thought, I can't do that.
You never thought he'd make it?
I never thought he'd make it. I didn't want to get attached. And then my husband, and this is why God puts two people together and then he calls them into this ministry. But he was always so encouraging. We can do this. We can do this. And then in February 14th, we got the call, that he is ready to be released from the hospital. Will you take him? And we have loved him dearly. God has just done a miraculous thing with the bonding with us with all of our children, regardless of color. We have tremendous adult children. And I know I'm their mother, but we have tremendous adult children. And our journey in adoption, it's just been so good, so good.
After Mike was born, another brother came along.
That's right.
And so they called us and said, there's another Lewis boy, do you want to take this one? So we took him, and then a couple of years after, we had all three of them, and there was talk of breaking them up for adoption, because like she said, that they didn't think we could adopt them, but we just said, we're not going to break them up, and we just put our foot down and insisted on it. So it worked out to where we could adopt them and keep them. We're so proud of Mike, just the fact that he's outlived all of his medical issues. He's was born very, very premature, very ADHD, and he was on medication for a long time. And he took himself off the medication because it stifled his personality. And when he was an older child before he did that, but he took himself off and said, I don't like the way it makes me feel. And I mean, he's real bubbly, and he's a wonderful, wonderful outgoing child, or young man now. And we're just really proud of him, and he's grown up to put himself through college. I mean, with our help, of course, but he's gone off to college, he's gone off to Bible school, and just become a wonderful youth pastor. We're just really proud of him.
I can just add to that Michael's always been, I've had several 1 pound babies, and they are stubborn, and they have a drive inside of them, otherwise they wouldn't be here.
That's right.
And he continues to have that drive. He got out of school, he graduated a year early, he's been off doing all kinds of ministry type of things, and now he has a position in the church. But Michael's a model for the whole family. Everybody looks up to, what he's doing. The three boys together, I don't know that they verbally held each other to a high level of accountability, but non-verbally, I believe they all three have, and they've all three lived up to that. Michael has overcome so much. Being a foster child, being raised by these silly white people, and just the things he's put up with, I think, with us as parents, being older parents. Michael has just plowed through it. He has stayed the course. He found the Lord, truly found the Lord as a teenager, and you can't stray him away from those beliefs. And we're so proud of him. He takes every opportunity he can to share the Lord, and he has, a video of his own where he tells young people, all of that stuff you're dealing with, when you really have God, that stuff goes away. The depression, the anger, everything. Michael, I love you. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations, Michael.
Michael holds our whole family to a high standard, and he just lifts up, it's not like foster parents lift up the children. In this case, Michael lifts up our whole family, and he holds us not physically accountable, but we know that we have to live up to Mike's standards, and it's a high standard for the whole family. He's done an awesome job of becoming the person that he is, and we love him so very much. And congratulations, Michael, we love you.